Fuentes was that she used an age-old tactic that colonizers use, which was the divide and rule tactic. She pitted African Americans versus Africans when she spoke about how hard Africans work compared to how hard African Americans work. And she also used the term, my Africans. Much of what Pearl says is determined.
So, I just wanted to address this specifically. It is so extremely racist, extremely ignorant, extremely disrespectful to try to claim that Black Americans and Africans have a commonality. We have a commonality. We're closer, by his depiction, than Black Americans and white Americans. What the fuck do I have in common with you, bitch? For real. What the fuck do I have in common with you? That's what I just want to know. I don't understand. How do you think a Black American who literally has no idea where their African ancestors came from, where the culture they came from, anything about their heritage as far as where their African ancestors came from, are somehow connected or together with Africans? How the fuck is your interest my interest? Not at all. You know that. I don't give a fuck about your country. And I never will. I'm an American. I have an American culture. It's very disrespectful to say Black Americans are Africans because you're basically disregarding our culture, disregarding the language I'm speaking right now, disregarding everything that I've ever known, everything that my family has always been. Black Americans and Africans were never the same, were never similar. After the fact that Africans sold Black Americans to America for slavery. How the fuck do you mean we're together when you specifically betrayed Black Americans by selling us to America? So you are no fucking friend. You are a fucking foe, if anything. And it doesn't even matter. You are inconsequential. Your countries are unimportant. Nobody fucking cares. I'm just saying. The fact that Africans in Africa are starving to death, warring together, getting diseases, doesn't affect my life. Doesn't affect me in any regard. You know, I am so grateful that Africans sold Black Americans to slavery because I would be starving in a hut somewhere, broke, and dying of disease and worrying about war. You know, I don't have to worry about that bullshit, okay? You have to deal with that because your ancestors were fucked up and you're paying for the prices of the sins of your fathers. And I don't have any sympathy for you guys on that regard because you guys have no sympathy for what your ancestors did to Black Americans to begin with. But I just wanted to point that out there. You trying to say that she pitted Black Americans against Africans or Africans against Black Americans, that's not true because we've never been together. So you can't say divide and conquer. We were never one, bitch. We were never one. If we were one, you would not have sold Black Americans to America for slavery. And your African people did that. So we've never been one, bitch. Lastly, one other thing I wanted to say is, well, two other things. Black Americans and white Americans are way more in common. We have the same culture, same background. We even belong to the same families. So, I mean, like, we have way more in common with them than we will ever have with you. That's just the truth. And thirdly, I wanted to point out that Black Americans and Black Americans, I feel, honestly, are not, I don't feel she was bringing up that Black Americans were the lazy ones compared to Africans. Because if you pay attention, she said Americans work less hard than Africans. Well, Americans are majority white. So she's talking about white Americans and Black Americans. Some rich Americans see that they don't want to hire Americans, regardless of our race, they don't want to hire us. They rather hire foreigners. That's just how some rich Americans are. She's a rich American, so most of the time rich Americans do this to Americans. This is a common occurrence. Now, I understand you're from a different country, so you don't understand how poor Americans are treated by rich Americans because you don't live in America, but that's why I'm trying to show you. It's not about black American or white American. Rich Americans usually just fuck over basically both white or black Americans. Just basically the working class. It doesn't really matter about race. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and have a great day. Bye, guys.